Welcome into Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. In this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We're giving you Saturday picks. We're giving you Sunday picks. We're talking about Brandon Staley getting fired, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man of the people in the room. Welcome into Ride the Line. Grant, are you riding?
I'm riding, Tanner. Riding into the weekend. It's been a good week, really good week for us. We pretty much, in a weird way, we got all of our picks right for the Thursday night game. Now, I don't think either one of us expected it to end 63-21, but we were on the Raiders. I was on Josh Jacobs' touchdown. Didn't play, but Zamir White scored, and then you were on Eckler's receiving yards, which ended up coming through. So it was a good day for the Ride the Line boys.
Yeah, Eckler just snuck over. The Chargers are an embarrassment. They need to fire Brandon Staley. They should have fired him at halftime, as I think Richard Sherman said this, like fire him at halftime. That would have been a good move. That would have been a really good move.
They should have fired him through the headset.
Yeah.
just rip the Band-Aid off. I mean, we all knew this was coming to an end, but boy, that is in contention for the most unexpected result in the NFL that I've ever seen. I saw a cool stat that was there have only been 2 games in NFL history that have both missed the projected total line by 35 points and the projected spread line by 35 points. One of those games was when the Dolphins scored 70 against the Broncos earlier this year. This was the other one. Only the second time that's ever happened.
Yeah, the Raiders need to the Chargers should learn from the Raiders a little bit. You know, getting rid of Josh McDaniels, seeing how that worked and seeing how much more inspired this team is. The Chargers need to do the exact same thing with Brandon Staley. They're just not playing for him right now. And that's all it came down to last night. Lazy tackles, players not really giving an effort, turnovers. Again, turnovers kill you, right? Like, I'm not saying they tried to fumble the football, but when things went south, they weren't able to respond like a team that wants to go out and play for their head coach does. So bad night for the Chargers. Not much to talk about there. Anyways, make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Yep, absolutely. Hit that subscribe button. Also, when Tanner and I aren't here, as we so often say, we've got picks, we've got props, we got promo codes, everything over on WSN.com, the World Sports Network. So go on over and check that out, whether you are missing Tanner and I or whether we're on the day off and you just want to see what we're up to. But Tanner, before we jump into the picks, I do want to get your input on this. How do you feel about people saying, clearly Justin Herbert is the MVP of the league? And maybe it's not that extreme, but how good does Justin Herbert look now that he misses a game and they lose 63-21?
I have not heard that take anywhere that he deserves to be the MVP of the league. I don't know what Twitter world you're living in, but I have not seen that. I don't think anyone's saying that.
Well, as I said, if you would listen, I don't agree with it, but I'm just asking you.
Seen it, though.
Do you think that he looks better now that we've seen what they look like without him?
Easton Stick wasn't good, but also, he wasn't helped out by the turnovers early in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Justin Herbert's like 31-32 as a starter or 30-31 as a starter. That's what I need to know. They don't have talent around him. He's a good quarterback, obviously. MVP of the league's pushing it. He is a top-tier quarterback. They got to get him some talent. But the bottom line is he's not winning games. So I don't care how good he is and how good his arm is and how much of an athlete he is. If you're not winning football games, you don't have a place in the league.
I agree with you. In my quarterback rankings, I'd probably put him around 8th, somewhere around there. I'd love to see him with a better head coach and a better supporting cast because I absolutely think he can win playoff games and do some damage, but just haven't seen it yet.
Bill Belichick's not the answer for him, though, because they're going to draft like a FCS offensive lineman in the first round next year. And
No. They're going to draft a long snapper and then maybe a fullback after that.
Yeah, they're going to draft stuff that just doesn't help him at all. You know, a backup tight end from that has potential. It's like 6'7", but hasn't played at all. Like they're just, I don't know. Bill Belichick's not the answer for the Chargers. I hope they realize that. I think Bill Belichick's time. He's just got to ride off in the sunset, but we'll see.
Yeah, and someone's going to give him a job because you almost have to. And there are a lot of people that aren't good at their jobs out there. And that includes, it can be the local person down at the Subway, or it can be someone that's in charge of an NFL franchise. There are lots of people that are good at their jobs. There are lots of people that are bad at their jobs. And you look at Belichick's resume, you say this is maybe the most accomplished coach in the history of the NFL. He had a bad situation in New England, didn't have the right pieces around him. We got to get him in here and he'll be able to do great things for us. It's not going to happen. proven. Belichick's probably still a top half coach. And still, even with this terrible team, he's proven that he can get the defense to play at an elite level if you give him enough time. But as far as just developing the roster and actually picking the personnel, he just doesn't have it anymore.
He's responsible for a lot of the downfall in New England, though. You're not going to be like Tom Brady level ever again. So like we got to set realistic expectations. But when you have Mac Jones, who played really well as a rookie, and I know we debate this, but he played better than he ever has played again as a rookie. When you're drafting Cole Strange in the first round, when you're not drafting weapons, when you're hiring a defensive-minded guy and special teams-minded guy to be your offensive coordinator, like he's just as responsible for this Patriots tanking. So I don't think he's the answer for the Chargers. I hope someone in the front office would see that when you don't have Tom Brady, it might not be the best answer.
And also, a lot of Belichick's allure and mystique is tied to the Patriot way. The Patriot way doesn't exist to whatever team. It could be any of the 31 other teams. When he goes to a new franchise, that culture and everything, it's okay for me to chastise my best player. Excuse me. It's okay for me to pay pennies on the dollar. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, like Justin Herbert's going to start getting reamed in meetings now.
Yeah, if he does end up going to LA, we'll see what happens. But Tanner, like you said, we've got games on Saturday. We got 3 of them, and then we've also got some Sunday games. Why don't we go on and dive on over into the picks?
All right, so you have the first pick of Saturday, so why don't you start?
Okay, so I'm going to take – this is the early game. Yeah, this is the 1 o'clock game. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals -3 versus the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Jake Browning has looked pretty good. He had there was a fun little interview with him, or a little just a little behind the scenes during one of the games where they put one of those little 30-second interviews up, and he's basically saying that, I understand that I'm not in a position where I'm going to get a ton of opportunities because I'm backing up Joe Burrow, who top 2 quarterback in the world. So when I get my opportunities, I do want to be prepared to take them. Well, what we've seen from him, he comes out in his first real heavy action, 227 yards, a touchdown and a pick. But since then, 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception, averaging more than 300 yards per game. He's looked really good the last couple of weeks, and both of those last couple of weeks have been wins for the Bengals. Now he's going against the Minnesota Vikings team that is having some offensive struggles lately. We know they won that game by only scoring 3 points. Josh Jacobs has not only been benched, but demoted to 3rd string. Nick Mullins is coming in. Yes, he's been able to move the ball down the field, but can I trust him to play consistent winning football? I haven't seen enough to say that I can. The Vikings defense is also ultra aggressive, and Brian Flores is doing a very good job. But with that comes the ability to make mistakes. When you've got playmakers and weapons like Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon and these other guys on the Bengals roster, I think they're going to be able to win within the margins, and they will be able to pull out a win here. I'm not saying they're going to score 40 points, but I just think Nick Mullins, combined with the fact the Bengals are the superior team from a talent perspective, I like them to win and cover.
Tough if you bought a Josh Dobbs jersey. It's pretty tough.
It's a real fall from grace too, because like I mentioned it on the show, I said he wouldn't have gotten my vote, but he was a top 10, top 15 MVP candidate, and that was true for as of maybe week 10 of the season, and now he's down to 3rd string.
Well, yeah, we were running like NBC was running like specials on how his rocket scientist career helped him play football. It looks like he's going to be more of a rocket scientist now than a football player. But
the Pastronaut.
The Pastronaut, like that was such a trend. Like it's such a quick trend. A fad. That's what they call it. I like the pick, Grant. I think with Browning, they've been doing a good job getting the ball in space, quick game, a lot of screens, let Jamar Chase and company make plays out in space. So I do think that ultra aggressive nature of the Minnesota Vikings defense doesn't really play into this well, because if they miss tackles on Jamar Chase, he can break one on a little quick screen pass or a slant. So good play here. I'm aligned with you there. The play that I'm looking at, I'm going with the prop here. I do like the Broncos +4.5 against the Lions, but I think these two go hand in hand. Javonte Williams go over 52.5 rushing yards. I love what Denver's done on offense. We've talked about it. They run the ball really well, or they continue to stick with it, and then they work in the play action with Russell Wilson. They don't ask him to do too much right now, and that's the reason I think they've been so successful with this transition. Like Sean Payton has fully gotten his mentality into this team. it's showing on the field. Javonte Williams is a guy that could easily surpass 52.5 rushing yards. I think this line's a little lower than usual because many think it's going to be a bounce back spot for the Lions. They're going to put up a lot of points and Broncos are going to be forced to abandon the run game. But I look at it from the other perspective. I think Denver's going to come in, establish the ground game, establish the trenches, because Detroit's really not good stopping the run here. They ranked like 28th in defensive rusher rating according to coldhardfootballfacts.com. Williams has gone over this, I believe, in 3 of his past 5 games. And a high end game for him is in that 70-yard range, a low end game in the 40-yard range. So I think 52, the upside on this line is just tremendous.
I'm with you in that I like the Broncos at +4.5. Jared Goff has been turning the ball over a lot. If that does happen, one of the big things when you get those extra possessions is that gives you more of an opportunity to dominate the time of possession. We know the Broncos aren't like the Chiefs of the years past or the Dolphins of this year, where as soon as they get the ball, we're looking to go 75 yards in one play. That's not them. They want those sustained drives. That comes with running the football. And again, if you're having more chances to possess it, more opportunities to run it. I also think that you've seen this Lions team has started to unravel a little bit on defense. To your point, they don't look great stopping the run. Seeing a lack of discipline on the line with some of they don't contain well. They don't find their gaps well. So I think that's going to be good pretty much for passing and running for the Broncos, to be honest. I just think this is a game where the Broncos are going to show up. They're going to play well. You've seen the Lions lose 2 of their last 3 games against inferior opponents. I think this is a good pick here. I think you could be looking at a lot of props for the Broncos.
Definitely. All right, Grant, that's Saturday. So let's move into Sunday now. We have a loaded slate. We're going to go heads up in our final pick here, but give me your second.
My second one, I'm going to take the Italian stallion, Mr. Chicken Cutlets, Tommy DeVito. I like the New York Giants at +6 against the New Orleans Saints. Now, I have a feeling this could be a little bit of a popular pick this week because Tommy DeVito's kind of become a national hero almost. That's not the reason why I do want to go with this pick, though. I want to talk about the most important quality in all of football. Some people like to use EPA. Some people want to talk about scoring. I'm looking at vibes. All right, let's look at the vibes of the Giants. The Giants, these are the same Giants, the same offensive linemen, the same wide receivers that people were saying Daniel Jones is working with absolutely nothing. The team's averaging 11 points per game. They can't do anything right. Daniel Jones goes out of the lineup, and all of a sudden, this line is blocking. These receivers are making plays down the field. They're holding on to the football. Credit to that, first and foremost, goes to Brian Daboll. I don't know why people were coming for his head. He is the coach of the year for a reason. But it also goes to Tommy DeVito. When your quarterback steps in that pocket and he has that presence about him, just his way to be able to talk to players. There was a clip of him on the sidelines talking to Saquon Barkley after they turned the ball over. And he said, hey, get your head in the game because we're going to win. That's all it takes sometimes. If your quarterback is confident and he exudes that and your team believes it, you're going to see the performances improve. And you know what? DeVito currently is the only undrafted rookie quarterback in NFL history to win 3 straight games. He is a 6-point underdog against the Saints team that is unraveling. And Derek Carr, it's the total opposite of what's going on. Derek Carr, his own teammates don't even want him to be there. They're not backing him up in fights. They've got offensive linemen yelling at him on the field. He's playing with numerous injuries as well, so just his physical ability is in the drain. I just think this is a matchup where, the Giants are feeling much better about themselves. The Saints really just kind of want the season to be over. The Giants are also playing better. They're giving up like 15 points per game over the last 7. If you take out that Cowboys game, give me the Giants. +6, way too many points.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Giants plus the 6 points is definitely the move here. It's amazing, like you were saying, how much one guy can come in and change a culture. Like Tommy DeVito, he might not be the best quarterback in the world, and it's still too early to tell what he's going to do throughout his career. He obviously has something that a lot of quarterbacks don't. He can come in and he can play well enough with not a lot of preparation, not a lot of experience in the league, obviously, as a rookie. But I do think they're having fun playing with him. Like the whole New York Giants franchise has just embodied this mentality of Tommy DeVito, like the agent looking like a gangster, the hands, like the chicken cutlets and all that. Like it's fun to watch. And I think the players are actually having fun for the first time, and they just weren't doing that with Daniel Jones there.
And you know what? We saw with Josh Dobbs. Like we've seen him, DeVito, maybe whether it's this season, whether he gets a shot next year and it's early in the season, He's probably not going to turn out to be the best quarterback in the world. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, but he's playing well right now and he's moving with conviction. He's leading the late game-winning drives. When he has to tuck and run on third down, he believes he's going to get that first down. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's been extremely fun to watch for him. So my next pick here is a good one. I hope you're ready for this, Grant. Tennessee Titans -3. Now, if CJ Stroud plays, different story. But the way the line is moving, it doesn't look like he's going to play, right? It was 2.5, it was 1.5, 2.5, 3. Now it could keep going up, I think, if he's officially ruled out. He has not practiced this week with his concussion. That was as of Thursday. He did not practice, so we'll see what happens today. He's still in concussion protocol. My biggest thing is the Texans are making a push to the playoffs here, but you also don't want to risk the health of your franchise quarterback too. So you just don't know what he's going to do if he's out there. And even if he is out there, I look at Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's playing at an elite level right now. When he was in that concussion time, when he was concussed, but he was still playing, was not effective one bit. So if they put CJ Stroud out there a little too early, just don't know what you're going to get. And Tennessee's playing with confidence. Will Levis, absolute dog. I mean, what he did against the Miami Dolphins, that they allowed him to come back into that game last week, but he still made the throws when he needed to. He's got a good connection with DeAndre Hopkins. And when you look at Derrick Henry, he's starting to get going and being really effective around the goal line, around the football. So I think Tennessee Titans -3 is a move if CJ Stroud doesn't play. I recommend getting in it now if you don't think he's going to play, because this line could easily jump up to 3.5. Davis Mills is not that guy. The Houston Texans don't have a run game. They don't want to run the football, so it's going to be a lot on Davis Mills. They don't have Tank Dell. They don't have that field stretcher kind of guy. So just not a good spot for them if CJ Stroud's not in the lineup.
Yeah, this is 100% a CJ Stroud thing. Comes down to if he's playing or not. To your point, though, not only is Tank Dell out, but Noah Brown is questionable. Nico Collins is questionable, left last game injured. It's just a situation where they've got a couple of offensive linemen that are banged up. Will Anderson Jr. is probably not going to play. They have missing some linebackers. There's a lot of injuries over there. And it's a season where it did look like the Texans could get to the playoffs, maybe even win a playoff game, but the injury bug has just kind of hit them at the wrong time. So, I would like to have a confirmation on Stroud's status, but also, as you said, if you wait, then you're probably not going to get the line for this value. I would probably still hold off and wait to see what happens, but I think you're right. It's trending towards him not playing, and this would be the time to get that pick.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Grant, let's go heads up.
All right, so the final game, in my opinion, the one I'm looking forward to watching the most. I don't know if you agree. We got the Dallas Cowboys going against the Buffalo Bills. Now, depending on the sports book you're looking at, the Bills are favored by between 1.5 to 2 points. Really, those aren't critical numbers, so not going to make a huge difference in the betting perspective. But I like the Dallas Cowboys. Tanner likes the Buffalo Bills. So let me tell you why I like the Cowboys here. Dak is the best quarterback in the league right now. There's really no question about it. At least he's playing like the best, I should say. He's not the best, but he's playing like the best. He's been doing it for 2 months straight. Going into that Eagles game, I said, I know the Eagles secondary is bad, but Dak still has the stigma of playing bad against good teams. So will that be too much for him? Blah, blah, blah. Well, it turns out that he was still pretty damn good. And you know what? The Bills secondary probably going to be the best that he's faced in recent memory, but it's still not elite. It's still there for him to dice up. I think the Cowboys have this swagger and this aura that I can't remember them having, honestly, in my lifetime. In the 25 years that I've been on this earth, I haven't seen them play with this sort of belief, and it's real belief. It's not fake. It's not imposed. It's something they have actually gotten from these performances. Obviously, their defense is menacing. They're able to assert themselves at the point of attack. I think they dominate the trenches in this game. Josh Allen is known for his ability to make plays, but Dak is making just as many plays, and he's taking much better care of the football. Only got 6 interceptions, whereas Allen leads the league in turnovers. I think it's a game that, sure, maybe it's going to be close, and yes, you're going to see some explosiveness from Buffalo, but I think Dallas is the more consistent force, and I like them to win.
I mean, Dak, it's a good comeback to earth spot, I think, for Dak a little bit. He's been fantastic, but when you look at what he's done and who he's played, Giants, Panthers, Commanders, Seahawks, Eagles, the Eagles turn the ball over 3 times. If the Eagles don't turn the ball over 3 times in that football game, or at least early on, it could be a totally different kind of game, right? But Dak's been fantastic. I don't want to take anything away from him. Yeah, great. If they turn the ball, if you don't turn the ball over 3 times, every time they were on the 15 going in. 20,
yeah.
20.
I don't disagree.
It's a different game there. But Dak's been fantastic. This is just a really tough spot against the Bills. This is the best team he's going to face all year on defense. And I think Josh Allen's playing really well right now. Some of the plays he's been able to make have been fantastic. Also, this Bills team, like, they got some confidence too, and they realize they need to go 3-1 over their next 4 realistically to get in.
What's their record? 7-6.
They're 7-6. I think 3-1 will get them in.
Yeah, at 4-0 for sure guarantees it. You probably get in at 3-1.
Yeah, you probably get in at 3-1. And if they can beat the Cowboys at home, then you go Chargers, who are a complete train wreck. And hopefully Brandon Staley's not fired by then, because it's going to help them even more. The Patriots in a rematch, you should beat the Patriots at home. And then you go at the Dolphins. So it's really Cowboys and Dolphins. Those are the 2 big games. And that Dolphins game, if Miami seems to slip a little bit, that could decide the division at the end of the season, right? So the Bills are not down for the count. They're still playing for a lot right now. I think that motivation is going to come into this game. It's going to take a Josh Allen masterclass. It's going to take some picks off Dak and make him uncomfortable a little bit. But what Dallas does well, rushing the passer, like Josh Allen can neutralize with his legs. And Jalen Hurts was able to do the same thing, but they just turned the ball over too many times. You can't do that if you're the Bills here. You got to play a perfect game, but I think they have the team to do it.
So I want to talk to you about this turnover thing, because that seemed to be a recurring theme for you. Josh Allen has thrown an interception in 9 straight games. Why should there be belief that he's going to play a clean game against one of the best defenses in the league?
He can throw 1. Can't throw 3. You can throw 1. I'll give him 1. One's fine.
What about 2?
2, I mean, if you look at the Eagles last week, if Jalen Hurts doesn't fumble initially and A.J. Brown doesn't fumble and then Devontae Smith fumbles at the end of the game, might be a different story. I think 1's fine. You got to win the turnover. You got to win the turnover margin. If Josh Allen has 1, you got to force 1. That kind of thing. He's going to have 1, but that's the kind of quarterback he is. He's going to make plays, though, by risking plays, right? They got to get off to a hot start. Dallas hasn't really played anyone. I'm still on that. I think Dallas is tremendous. They haven't played anyone. They beat the Eagles last week. Whoop-de-doo. The Eagles are terrible in the secondary, and they turn the ball over 3 times. So, like, this is a legitimate test. You're going on the road to Buffalo in a game where Buffalo's playing for a lot.
Buffalo is playing for a lot. I look at them. I look at the Bills, this Bills team, how I looked at the Cowboys teams of years past, where, you know, you build them up and they just disappoint you in big spots. And then they win when you're not expecting them to, right? Like, they go on the road, they beat the Chiefs. Granted, I picked them to pick.
Don't make me say it, Grant. Don't make me say it. I was all over the Cowboys last week. I love it. You were not talking high on the Cowboys last week against.
Well, I was on the Bill. I was on the Bills last week. So what does that prove?
You were. I was on the Bills too.
All right, so cool.
You were on the Eagles last week talking about how Dak's not that good. Don't give me that.
No. I never said that. I was on the Eagles, yes, but I never said that about Dak.
I'm just saying, don't be all high and mighty towards the Dallas Cowboys now.
Well, I can't be confident in my pick.
No, well, last week you're like, oh, you know, the Eagles is the Eagles, really good Eagles team. Now you're trashing the Eagles, Grant. So I don't know.
I'm not trashing the Eagles. I literally didn't even mention the Eagles. I just said I took the Bills last week against the Chiefs, which was an unpopular pick.
I liked it. I was here for it. I don't think
so. What are we talking about? I never even mentioned the Eagles.
No, last week you're talking about the Eagles. You bet the Eagles last week, right?
Yeah, yes, I bet on the Eagles last week. In no part of my speech just now did I bring up the Eagles until you did.
I know, but no, it involves the Cowboys.
Look, the point here, Tanner, is the Cowboys are going to win this game. I don't know what to tell you. That's all it comes down to.
Bills are going to win. Bet the Bills to win the Super Bowl right now.
Well, you don't believe that.
No, I do. For value, 18-1.
Enjoy that.
Grant.
This is the worst Bills team they've had. This is their worst chance to win the Super Bowl in the last 4 years.
Okay, Baltimore's good.
Yeah.
Chiefs are not good.
They're better than Bills.
I don't know, Grant. The Bills just beat them.
So what? They beat them in the regular season a couple years ago. The Bengals beat them in the regular season. Who cares?
Miami Dolphins.
Better than the Bills.
No defense. Buffalo Bills plus 950 to win the AFC right now. Jaguars plus 1100. If the Bills get in, they have just as good a chance as anyone to make the playoffs. And I'm not betting for 18-1. It's a good bet. It's a great bet.
I disagree. There is no way the Bills beat the 49ers. How about that?
Okay, so bet them to win the AFC, and if they make it to the championship, it's plus 950, and you can hedge it.
I don't like that though. I like the Ravens more. I like the Chiefs more. I like the Dolphins more. You know what? I might like the Browns more.
They got a tough road. See now Josh Allen's going to shove it up your what this weekend just for you to
Bro,
set that.
Josh Allen against the Browns in the playoffs, that sounds like 180 yards and 3 interceptions to me.
Josh Allen's that guy. Just watch this weekend, Grant. I'll tell you. Just watch this weekend.
We'll see. We will see, Tanner. Hey, your Boston Celtics taking on the Orlando Magic tonight. Battle between two of the top 3 teams in the East. How you feeling?
Good. Celtics -6. Is that game in Boston?
The game is in Boston. I will say Orlando has not played since Monday. Boston is on the second night of a back-to-back, so that's something to watch out for. But the Celtics are 12-0 at home.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. They Jason Tatum's got to come out. They're healthy right now, at least, which is good. So look for them to pop off. They covered. Actually, it's kind of crazy the spreads. Like they were a 12-point underdog against the Cavs that first game. Then the second game they were 9-point underdog. They won by 9-point favorite. I mean. Yeah. Both sides, and they won by 9 yesterday. So kind of crazy.
Yeah, good one. That, by the way, is my game of the day, the one that I covered. So go on over to WSN.com. You want to see my pick on those. 12-4 against the spread in my last 16 NBA picks. Tanner, I think that does it for today's show, if I'm not mistaken.
That does it. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, share, comment, do it all. Let us know who you're taking, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Ride the Line.